Do you find yourself worrying about having to be perfect when you go to do a ritual or you go to start your practice, do a spell or anything where you're worried that it's just got to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, you beat yourself up and feel like a failure afterwards? I hope that isn't you, but if it is, I'm not trying to shame you or judge you. What I want to do is just help you understand that you don't have to be perfect to be a witch. But before we dive into this subject, hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. If you're new to the channel and you want to become a Wiccan or a witch, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. Today's video is about perfectionism, and the truth is, perfect doesn't exist. Yay! That is a good thing to know, because the striving to be perfect is a human thing. It's not something that belongs to nature. Nature doesn't strive for perfection. We see imperfection everywhere in nature. She doesn't do everything perfectly. But yet in her imperfection, she is perfect within that. So when you're doing magic, if you're doing ritual and you're worried about not having the right colored candles, saying the wrong thing, mispronouncing something, having the wrong offering, having to leave the circle because you forgot something to bring it back in, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a failure, because it happens to everybody. The fear of failure is the biggest block to moving forward in anything in life. And perfectionism is about that. It's about fearing failure and feeling ashamed of yourself because you've failed in some way. And I think our education system really drives that fear, because it's so competitive and it's so based on comparing yourself to other people and having to be perfect and not failing even once. It's like it perpetuates this belief that the only way you can be whole in your life is to be perfect. But perfect doesn't exist. So it's striving for something that's not even real. It's striving for something that's an illusion. So in your craft, if the fear of failure is stopping you from moving forward, doing a daily practice, for example, maybe in your daily practice, you don't get around to doing the whole thing every day. It's okay. It's okay to miss a day or two. It's okay to just do your meditation. It's okay to maybe just do an invocation to the god and goddess really, really quickly while you're in the shower, if that's all you can manage. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can be versatile within the parameters of the guidelines. So I'm not saying it's all hell for leather and, just do whatever you like. That's the other side of the polarity. I like to be in the middle when it comes to polarity and allowing the wobble between the two. So perfectionism is on this extreme side, okay? And the sort of tardiness and the, whatever, anything goes is sort of on the other extreme. So I'm speaking more about being sincere with your work, being conscientious with what you're doing, but not needing to be perfect. Like your spell work, for example, doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if the candle burns down unevenly. So despite what some of the traditional folklore will say about candle magic, it doesn't mean that your spell is doomed or something bad's going to happen because you happen to do your spell, a candle spell. There might have been a draft coming in and so it's burnt down unevenly. Maybe you had a fan on that day. There's lots of reasons, physical, everyday, mundane, boring reasons why your candle may be a little bit weird when it's burning down. It could also be the candle itself could be faulty in some way. There's more often than not, 99.9% of the time, the reason why you're having weird things happen in your spellcrafting isn't because you're a failure, isn't because the spirits are unhappy. It's simply because there's something going on in your environment that is actually causing the situation, and it's probably a really boring, mundane, unmagical reason. In your rituals, if you're doing a Sabbath ritual and you have forgotten a verse or you mispronounce a deity's name, that's okay. Just move on. Just move on. It's fine to do that. If you're in a group ritual, for example, and you forget what you've got to say, that's okay. Make it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. I've spent most of the first probably 30 years of my life in the performing arts. And so many times when I was performing on stage, stuff would go wrong. And we would have to try and make out that it was part of the show. We would have to go into improvisation mode immediately and incorporate it into what was going on stage, like it was meant to be there. So do that in your rituals as well if you're in a group ritual, or even if it's just you and the gods. Just allow whatever happens to happen. It's okay. If you're doing a ritual outside and you have a dog around and the dog comes in and runs around the circle, that's okay. It's okay for these things to happen. Even if the dog knocks over the cup or something, it's okay. It's not the end of the ritual. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't let the need for perfection and the worry about not staying on schedule stop you from doing the practice. Now, I have the Mystery Witch School 101 course, which is a 12-month course. Now, I say to people, it's okay to take longer than 12 months. It's 12 months because you've got to put a time limit pretty much on things, especially when you're drip feeding like I do. So the modules come out every month. But it's okay if somebody wants to take a month off or a couple of months, or they want to spend longer on one module than another module, because everybody learns differently. And some modules may be more tricky for some people than other modules. It's like that with learning Wicca. You don't have to be perfect with what it is that you're doing. And the whole point of being in a community of other witches and Wiccans is so that you can ask questions and you can learn from other people and learn from your mistakes. You know, we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes. So from all of the failures that may go on in your rituals and your spellcrafting, they're just learning experiences. And they can make some funny stories to tell people too. They're nothing to be concerned about, unless you physically harm yourself by accidentally setting fire to yourself, which is probably the worst thing that could go wrong in a ritual. Then most of the time they're really just small things that really shouldn't be getting in your way of enjoying the practice. The mark of a true spiritual practice is joy. It's a path of the heart, so it's a path of joy and love. That is the spiritual path. So if what you're doing is not bringing you joy, then you're on the wrong path. You want to be feeling joyous, even if you stuff up, even if the candles go out. I am notorious for not being able to light matches when I'm doing outdoor rituals. When I was in my coven, I was often one of the people who had to do candle lighting, and I remember it was an initiation ritual for the next batch that was coming in after us, and I had to light the candles for this lantern. It took me like 10 minutes to actually get it to light because it was outdoors, it was windy, everyone was looking at me and watching and waiting for me to light this damn candle. So these things happen. It was kind of embarrassing, but you know, that's how it was. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's something that I really try to push to the members of Mystery Witch School. And if you are interested, of course, in learning Wicca and being part of an online group, we get together twice a month for online ritual and discussions, Q&As. So we really meet as a community. Plus there's course learning involved in that as well. Do check out Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. The link is in the description field below this video. If you like the video, hit the like button. Do share it with your friends. And I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. I will see you on the next video. Blessed be.